It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 8. This is your host, Dep Lewis, coming at you on Friday, November 25th, 2022. Recording on a Friday because I am ready to go. This is Thanksgiving week here in the United States of America, and today is Black Friday, the day everyone is shopping for everything online and offline. They're getting their deals on TVs, on video games, looking for consoles, looking for that special gift they're trying to give someone, that special gift for a special someone. So it's a great day. So I'm here recording early. I got the show ready to go. I played a lot of cool games this week. I'm playing a new game this week. I bought a new game this week. I've seen a few things out there in the video game landscape I want to talk about. And at the end, we got some miscellaneous things to go over. So it's going to be a great episode for you today. I really appreciate you being here. The first thing I want to boss you around a little and tell you to do something. So you need to follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. You need to like, you need to subscribe, you need to rate, you need to comment, you need to review, you need to turn on notifications, and you need to tell a friend. And you can email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. You can check out full episodes of the podcast, The Dep Lewis Show, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Patreon, and even more on my Buzzsprout page. So please check out there. The Buzzsprout page is a good hub to access all the different platforms for listening to this wonderful show. This globally famous, world famous, universe changing, Milky Way Galaxy's top podcast for video games, The Dep Lewis Show. There's clips of the show on YouTube and TikTok that you can check out. And we're going to start off with a little bit of notes from last show. So last show, I mentioned that Sonic Frontiers was on sale for $29.99 at Walmart starting November 21st. This was actually, you had to have a Walmart Plus sub to get this rate. So then you'd have to have a monthly sub to Walmart Plus. And then you get the discounted price for this game. So I definitely misquoted that. The Walmart Plus thing is that's how I got my PlayStation 5. I signed up for a month of Walmart Plus. They gave me early access to purchasing a PlayStation 5. This was back in June of this year. So I have a nostalgia and a warmth in my heart for Walmart Plus because they helped me get my PlayStation. But that wasn't a seller for me for buying Sonic Frontiers, but I actually found this game for $29.99 on Amazon. So Amazon hooked me up with a copy of this. It was actually $5 off that for some reason. So I got a copy of Sonic Frontiers for Xbox Series X for $25. I got it shipped in an Amazon hub locker. So I got to drive to a location. I just had to scan my barcode, and then a drawer opens up and it has my package inside. So I just grab it and I just close the door and I walked up out of that store, and it was great. I had a nice experience with that Amazon hub locker. So I could see myself using that again in the future because packages tend to get misplaced, is what we'll call them around here. Had more than a few things get taken from my doorstep, so it was pretty cool that's an option, and it worked. And I got a great deal on a video game, so that has been my best Black Friday deal so far. I purchased a full price game that I'll talk about later, but I don't want to spoil that quite yet. I'd like to bring up another note from last show, which was there was a good bit of background noise. I actually listened to this episode in my headphones. I usually just kind of listen, on my phone speakers or whatever, but I listened to my headphones and I could hear the birds chirping. So I do usually record this podcast in the morning. That's something to note. I'm in a completely soundproof studio, very, $1 million studio here, but for some reason there's a little bit of sound leaking in, like bird noise. I heard dogs barking. I heard car engines revving, and I think I heard an airplane go over. So, just all special effects. I just think they're really helping out the pod and helping out the sound quality. I think they all just sound really cool in the background over my voice. So I just wanted you to know that's what they're there for. So I definitely noticed this more wearing headphones. So I'll keep checking out for this. There's nothing I can really do about it. I kind of already paid, the $12 million for this studio, so I can't really leave here. So just going to have to sound like this, but hopefully it's not too disturbing. In the future, I could think about recording at different times, but it looks like we're hitting a good time today. It's early, but the birds aren't chirping, I guess, because it's raining and kind of gloomy out there. So hopefully everything will be quiet today for the recording of the wonderful Dep Lewis Show. Imagine how great this show would be if we didn't have any background noise. Wow, we'd be at the top of all the charts. We'd be getting Spotify deals we'd be getting multiple Spotify deals. They'd just be giving them to us, multiple ones for no reason. And I truly believe that. But, the birds are bringing me down. The car engines are bringing me down. But we're going to fight through. I'm going to persevere for you out there, listener. We're going to do this podcast, and we're going to listen, and we're going to get some information in our heads. And so the last note from last show, I was talking about the difference between PS Plus and Game Pass and talking about the merits of each and which one would be better to purchase and which one's the better value. And after my research, I've kind of found out that they're very, very similar services in price and content. It really just depends on the exclusive catalog you'd like to access. So I was thinking for myself, the PlayStation catalog isn't something that I'd like quick access to because the games are usually a little bit longer. They're kind of big AAA story-driven games, and I like to buy these and play them. And, I always want to play them on a time crunch. Game Pass, I feel like, has more of a breadth of game styles on there to play, and then they also put some first-party stuff on there immediately, which is cool. I don't think Sony's doing anything like that yet, but I could be wrong about that because they do give you access to a lot of their heavy-hitter games on there. But it looks like the top tier for each of these is around $14.99, and it looks like you can pay for a base, just online access tier, which is $9.99 for each. It's kind of just the equivalent of gold, it looks like, for online play and like for PS Plus too. The only differentiating thing I could notice was the catalog you want to play. So I think I kind of decided that. Well, I didn't really decide anything yet. I'm just gonna let my shit run out and see how it plays. But I subscribe to both of these services from time to time. I definitely am looking more towards the Game Pass for the game catalog stuff, but the PS Plus catalog stuff is definitely good too if you haven't played it. So it really all just depends. But I'm ultimately just not wanting to have to pay both of those prices. I'd like to pay one, and I'd like to decide which one would give me the most value and access to content and things I need. So that's all that I'm talking about there. So both those services are pretty necessary if you want to play some online games. I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, so that's why I was looking that up and thinking about it. So we are going to get into what I've been playing this week. That's the main thing we're here to talk about. Since I just mentioned playing Call of Duty, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but we're going to start off with the top dog, the big dog, the GOATY, the best game of the year for 2022 for the Dep Lewis Show, and that is Splatoon 3. It is still holding its spot. It's sitting up there looking down the other spot saying, what's good with you? How's it going down there? Need a drink? Need a snack? It's great up here. In Splatoon 3, I got a new shirt that has the perk I want, so I think it was either ink refill. I think it was ink recovery is the one I have on that middle slot. I used to have this really ugly shirt that had the perk I wanted. It was like a brown and yellow checkered shirt, and I was rocking it for a long time because I had the perks I want. But now I have a slightly less ugly t-shirt, which is it's like a white t-shirt with some lettering on it, but it has the perks I want. So I mentioned in a previous episode, I'd like to figure out how to get specific things on my gear, but I have not been successful doing that. I can't say I've tried my hardest. I wouldn't, if you put a gun to my head, I wouldn't say I gave my best effort, but I have tried a few times, and, I do like the gear I'm playing with, and, I don't mind the way it looks too much. It doesn't really matter too much, but it would be cool. I see some guys every once in a while out there that have a whole cool setup of their guy, and it looks cool, and it looks intentional, and I'd like to instill some fear on the battlefield, or at least some awe, or some mesmerization. Is that the right word? To be mesmerized? I wish they'd be mesmerized by my character. So they can, slow up for half a second, then they'll get inked in the face, and then, +1 for the good guys. But Splatoon 3 has an update coming that's going to allow you to fold your clothes for your locker display. I saw one article mention that a nice locker is a sign for a good Splatoon player, so I need to take this into consideration more, especially if that's the way that the people on the Splatoon streets are thinking. They're like, man, I know this guy can, splat it up, and he's, a good performer on our team, but what the fuck's his locker look like? So I need to really reconsider that. I don't even know if I've done anything to my locker on my new character. So I could be the biggest noob in the universe. So we'll see. I need to check that out. But Splatoon 3 has been going great. I haven't played a hell of a whole lot of that this week. I just wanted to say that phrase because it's fun. I haven't played a hell of a whole lot of that game. I haven't played a hell of a whole lot of it. But I'm going to play some more, obviously. I've played just a few Turf War matches this week. I actually had I had like one of my best games I think I've ever had. I survived the whole match without dying. I was pretty high up there on my team, and it just felt good. I got some footage of it too, so you'll probably be seeing some of that this week. But I thought that was really neat. I don't know if I've ever completed a match without dying, so that felt good. It felt like I was a little more in control of things out there. I was being a little more strategic, maneuvering myself around the battlefield appropriately. Not not pushing in too far and pulling back a little. So I'm getting smarter out here, people, so you better watch out. And if I get my locker looking right, it's really going to be over for you people out there. So Splatoon 3 is a great game. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's been on a little bit of a sale recently with some Black Friday stuff. So it's I don't think I've seen it any cheaper than $50. I don't think, but I think it has been a little bit off. So it'll be a nice incentive for people out there to buy it if they're looking to pick up Splatoon 3. And then you also need to pick up some Nintendo Switch Online with that. So you need to remember that as well. That's something that when my month trial runs out, I need to just buy a year of that, because looking into the value of that, that's definitely the best way to go, because you can get a whole year of access for $20, or you can pay monthly for $4.99. So if you're going to be consistently using Nintendo Switch Online, there's no reason to be paying the monthly fee unless you just really need to or just want to. But it seems like the $20 is the best deal to go for there. But another game that I mentioned earlier that I'm playing is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I played some more matches this week, kind of like Splatoon 3. I've been splitting my time a little bit between those games now, I'd say, where I pop in and get a few matches in each. And it's been really, really fun, and I don't see myself slowing down. I mentioned last week that I'm using the submachine gun category, so I'm using the P90, which is the PDSW 528, so the P90. And one site had it ranked as the number 2 submachine gun, so I guess I'm doing something okay there. I still really, really like it. It has the quick aim down sight speed, and the sight I have on there is actually pretty nice. I just kind of struggle sometimes hitting the guy from a distance, but it's really, really good for maneuvering in the tight quarters. And I'm trying to think what else. I played that racetrack map again, which is so cool. I had a really good match on there where I was doing pretty well, and just enjoying walking around looking at that map too, which is really cool. And I guess I'm liking the flow, feeling the flow and the layout of it too. But just the way it graphically and stylistically looks, it's really, really a cool map. And Call of Duty's been great. I think it's firmly planted itself on the top 10 list for me this year. I just don't know where it's going to be quite yet, but I think it is making some moves recently because it's been sticking around. So should have some more updates for you next week on that. I've kind of just been more submachine gunning than snipering this week. So maybe next week I'll get back into some snipering, but I just want to keep playing that game. It's really, really fun. So check out the Call of Duties. I don't believe it's on any type of sale. I don't think I've seen it on any type of Black Friday sale. It must be too new and too popular of a thing. It was involved in the Target Buy 2 Get 1 Free games, which is really, really cool. But I know that sale's over. It's been over for a little while, but you should pick up the Call of Duties. I think this could sway some people who haven't played it in a while that really like it. I think this would be a good entry to get back into. But with that, again, you need to buy the game, and you also need to buy some, online access. You need to get some PS Plus or some Xbox Game Pass or Ultimate or Gold or whatever the fuck they call that shit now. But just another charge on top of that you need to consider when you're buying these games. And if you're going to keep playing Call of Duty, you got to keep paying that a monthly fee or think about going annually. So these are things I'm trying to think about now too, and I'm playing when I have these multiplayer games back in my life. But let's see here what else I've been playing. Now I have a lot of notes right there, but I want to get to just another quick hitter of something that I've been playing. And I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to work harder. I'm a vampire survivor, baby. Vampire Survivors. I've been playing some more of that. I guess I've just been trying to get level 20 on the Mad Forest so I can unlock the library, but I've just been playing as my boy Antonio Velpezi, and I think I'm getting the groove of this game. I'm using the garlic pretty often. I'm using the King's Bible still pretty often, and I'm really liking when Antonio Velpezi, when you can walk around the screen with him and you can just kind of run into the bats yourself and knock them out. So I'm kind of building my character each time to do that, and I think it's really been helping me. And then I was singing this week while I'm playing. I was singing, I'm a vampire survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. Vampire survivor. I'm gonna keep on surviving. Vampire surviving. So I'm gonna keep playing that game. That game is definitely on the Game of the Year list. It's definitely high up on the Game of the Year list. And I just want to say, go play it. I've really been liking playing on the Xbox. It's so simple to play. You just have to move your character around, but you can sit on your couch and look at your nice TV, and you can play that game and listen to a podcast or listen to some music. You can pause it when you need to. I can jump right back into the action, and it's perfect. And shout out to Vampire Survivor, shout out to Punkle, and I'm going to keep on surviving because I'm a Vampire Survivor. So just want to shout that out. That's another one. I got those 3 games right now going pretty consistently. The Vampire Survivors, the Call of Duty, and the Splatoon. So I really don't see myself slowing down on jumping into those just even for a little bit each week right now. And if I do, I will let you know. But the one thing that I jumped into this week is going to be a little bit of a surprise and a little bit of backtracking on my part, because I had this whole spiel earlier in the podcast, one of the earlier episodes, where I'm like, oh, I need to finish these games. I need to play the game that came out prior before I play the new game. That's what I sounded like, and that's what I sounded like to myself and to you out there. But I decided, what the fuck do I care? If I want to play the new game, and I'm going to play the new game. And it's probably going to be better because it's new. And why am I trying to play a game that's old? So I skipped ahead to God of War Ragnarok. I moved on from 2018, and I'm playing the Ragnarok. And it's been awesome. It's been more awesome than I thought. I'm always checking out the new games. I want to play the new games. That's the normal style of the way I play video games. I'm not even too worried about spoilers with stuff. So, I was just thinking, why am I holding back on playing this? I want to play it. So I don't complete many games. So if I'm early in the God of War 2018, it's probably very unlikely I'm going to get to Ragnarok and complete it. So I just wanted to start with Ragnarok and see what Santa Monica Studio has been cooking up recently and play that. And I made the right decision. I can already say that from playing it just for a little bit. So I dropped to $69.99 for God of War Ragnarok. It came out November 9th, 2022. And I watched the God of War flashback at the beginning. It has that on the main menu, so you can catch up on the story from the first game. So I learned all the high level points of what happened in God of War 1. And I just want to say, if you're listening to this and you're concerned with spoilers, this is probably a decent time to quit listening, because I'm just going to talk about the what I've been seeing in this game. I just want to talk about it and not worry about the spoilers. So if you're real worried about God of War spoilers, maybe don't listen to this part. I'm just going to kind of run through my notes here on this game, just so you can kind of get a sense of how it's going and what I'm thinking of it. But I cried within the first 15 or 20 minutes of this game. There was a scene with Fenrir, who was an old wolf, and the old wolf passed away, and that kind of stuff really, really gets me. So I was sitting there crying with this game. I got it downloaded. I started playing. I'm like, man, I'm in the mood for this God of War, for this Ragnarok. And I turned off all the lights. I even put the headset on. I'm like, I'm going to get in this world and start playing. And that's what they fucking hit me with. So Santa Monica Studio, you can suck a D for making me cry within the first whatever minutes of that game. And I think that there is some more possibility for some tears in that way later in the game too. So I'm prepared for it now, and you are too if you're listening. But man, some of that stuff, I really like Game of Thrones, and there's wolves in that, and some of them don't make it, and some of the worst scenes, some of the worst moments in that series to me are related to those. So this game, starting off really, really brutal for me, but it definitely made me want to keep playing it, because I'm like, man, I have tears in my eyes from this video game this early. It's like, I'm sad, but it's really, really cool that it's able to do that. And I definitely heard, just thinking back, I listened to some people talk about Ragnarok, and they mentioned some parts earlier in the game where they cried, and I'm like, man, I just didn't really take too much note of it. I just wasn't assuming what they were talking about. I kind of felt it might be some more like father-son stuff between Atreus or something, or some like sweet relationshipy stuff, and I was like, that's not going to get me. But they hit me hard with Fenrir, and I guess it's probably hitting a lot of people like that. So God of War knows what people love out there, I guess. Love some dogs. And Atreus cast a spell when Fenrir died, when he finally closed his eyes and passed away, and it was the yellow spell that came out. And then we also saw this yellow spell, I think it was like on some tree or something later, but Svanna and Specky are the 2 younger girl wolves, and they're really cool, so they're what I'm living for right now in the game. My girls Svanna and Specky, they're still healthy right now, and they're really, really cool and cute. Thinking of other animals, we got Freya out there turning into a hawk and trying to kill Kratos immediately and coming after us, and we're having to fight her off, so we got that beef going out in these streets. We got Atreus, who turned into a motherfucking bear, reminded me of Gohan and Goku. He reminded me of Gohan when he sees the full moon turn into a bear. So Kratos goes on a chase for Atreus, because Atreus is he goes to bury Fenrir, and he's not been back for a while. So Kratos goes to look for him, and you can kind of see trappings of like maybe a bear attack on the way. And then Kratos finally finds the bear. You have this really exciting battle with him. Really, really cool battle with that bear. You're like, man, this is badass. I can't believe this is happening. And then after you don't kill the bear, but you like subdue him, and then he turns into Atreus. So Atreus doesn't really know how it happened. Kratos is shocked by this happening, and the bear does end up dying after that. And the two little cubs there are kind of crying and yelling at Atreus, and that's another emotional part, that these two little cute cubs are laying next to their mom or dad that passed away, and they're like crying and mad, and then they run away. So Kratos is telling them that nature is gonna take its course, and that's an example of it right there to Atreus, that the cubs just they were huddling up for some more for a little bit, but then they dipped out. They realized they have to go keep on living. So that's what Kratos and Atreus are doing after their mom passed away. So really cool. I'm really liking all the animal stuff in this game. I love animals, and I don't like the animals passing away, but it made me emotionally invested in the story very early. So I think that's a smart tactic by Santa Monica Studio. So tip of the hat to you. There's an underlying prophecy in this game that Kratos is going to die, and they talk about it. I heard this in pre-release content, that was one of the main tropes over this game, that someone's going to die, and they're kind of pointing to Atreus, and I've seen that early in this game, and I don't know what I think about that. They are setting up some dynamic where Atreus is becoming more like of a man, or more independent, and but Kratos still is the man. He's still fighting, like he can still fight like he does, and he has all of his wisdom, and he's just real selective with what he's doing. So I don't see really him taking a step back in any way for Kratos, but I guess he is talking about the natural ways of life and blah getting older, but it's an interesting dynamic. You're seeing Atreus being more helpful and grown up from the start of this game. He's doing things without being asked now. He's asking Kratos if he needs help, and but he's also doing things without Kratos knowing, and this makes Kratos mad. Sindri tells him he must go along with his son's path a bit, or he will lose him completely. Kratos grunts, but you can tell he agrees. So Sindri was kind of helping Atreus on this search for Tyr, for some information on Tyr, which we'll talk about in a minute. But he believes it's some type of answer or path for the universe out there, and Sindri was helping him do some exploring. He finally has to come clean to Kratos, and then Kratos is a little bit mad at Sindri too, but Sindri gives him that advice, and I think it really resonated with Kratos that he does need to help his son out a little bit. His son's growing up and is his own person, so it was pretty cool. Just a little extra thing. I really like the menus in this game, and the captions look extra nice for some reason too. So like the closed captions in this game, they're just like right in the middle of the screen. I don't know if it's the font style or the size or the way they disappear nicely on the screen after they come up, but it's really cool. I think they paid some good attention to detail with that stuff. And middle of the screen and and they float really good. So yeah, I just thought that was a nice touch too for this game. I've been trying to figure out what's going on in Fimbulwinter. It's Fimbulwinter all over the universe here. Fimbulwinter is different in different realms, and the area when you first get to the boat is amazing. This game is fucking amazing looking. And when you get to that first section in the boat, it's like a different style of area. You've been in the snowy, kind of wintry stuff early on in the game, in the wilderness, and then you get to this boat, and it's like more of a brown, it's more of like a city. It's like not city, it's just a more bright area, and you're going through the water, and you're getting to check in the scenery around there, and it looks so cool. I was taking screenshots, and I think this was just a great contrast from the first section of the way it looks, and the whole game's going to be like this visually. It's going to be really exciting just to even see the next section. And you're also getting some. I remember really liking the dialogue in this game and the voice acting. Atreus was talking to Kratos in the boat, and he was asking him how he used to talk with his mother, kind of in the being like, how the hell? He's like, I want to know what you and mom talked about. He's like, how did you even fucking talk to her, Kratos? You're so silent and particular. And he goes, how did you talk to mother? He goes, did you say things like, woman, guard the river? Like, and then he makes himself laugh, and Kratos is just kind of like, oh man, he's a little kid, a little punk ass kid, but it's pretty cute, and it's cute. Atreus is asking him these things, And then some of the other things I noticed in this, Thor is really, really cool. He is fat and he shows up with mead. The lightning is badass when he shows up, and so is his hammer. The camera zooms in on his hammer. You see like the little bit of lightning bolts go. So I really like the depiction of Thor in this game. And then Odin comes in after Thor with his eye patch on, like a b-boy, like a bitch boy for life. But Odin just comes in with this kind of negative energy in there, trying to just piss everybody off. He's mad Kratos killed Balder, which is Freya's son, which was the stranger in the first game. And Thor and Kratos have to fight for this. But Thor wants to fight Kratos for this, and they do fight. And he says he has a blood debt that needs to be paid, and they fight for a long time. And it's a pretty crazy fight with Thor. There's a lot of crazy fights in this game with like boss-like characters. I even fought a huntress lady that just shows up out of nowhere, and it's this lady who's a huntress on, horseback huntress lady. And I had to fight her just out of the random blue. So this game has been throwing some jabs and hooks at you. It's been pretty crazy. So that fight with Thor was awesome too. I have so much to remember from this first section, which is wild. But you sort of win the fight with Thor. You don't kill him, but he leaves and says your blood debt has been paid. So I guess he felt that would do for the murdering of his sons. He wanted to see he said he wanted to see the real God of War and how he really fights. So he got to see that. So there's going to be some more interactions with that. I can't tell if they're going to go good or bad, but I would maybe lean towards go bad, because they kind of showed up a little bit friendly, but they were trying to flex their muscle, Odin and Thor. So I think they'll be doing that again. But you get to see, I pointed out that during that fight with Thor, you get like knocked out. I don't know if this is something that guaranteed to happen, but if you get knocked out, it goes to like the screen where it says like you died and it's reloading. But then Thor actually like revives you and brings you back into life and goes, we're not done fighting yet, you bitch. And he brings you back in and starts fighting again. And I was like, man, that was badass. And it was reminding me of like something Metal Gear would do, or something Metal Gear has done. But it's really cool to see that little touch earlier in the game. This developer is, and just showing off a little bit with their surprise stuff and intricacies of the game that they got going on so far. So it's really cool. That kind of stuff's just neat. It's not stuff you see every day, so it's fun to see when you do see it. And then after that big fight with Thor, you got your boys Sindri and Brock showing up, the cool dwarves. And Atreus, they say something, are we your favorite dwarves? And Atreus goes, well, you're the only ones I know. And they're like, we'll take it. But those guys are cool, and they got the upgrades. And Sindri's got his house. I guess it's a new house that he's created or built, and it looks really, really neat. Has kind of like purple touches all throughout it, and you show up there and he leads you through there, and you can kind of explore it too, which is nice. This game seems really fast paced, and it's not really wasting any seconds, but it does give you a little bit of time to walk around Sindri's house, which was cool, and I like that. So it's really, really neat. Let's see what else I got on these notes here. Atreus is investigating Tyr. He believes he's still alive. He shows Kratos the temple area he found in the vision thing. Kratos kind of starts taking this serious then. And then Odin and Thor were, pleading for Atreus to quit investigating Tyr. So I think that's the main crux of the story here of unraveling the mysteries of Tyr, or Tyr, however you say that. I'm going to kind of go with Tyr, unless I hear something differently. But Atreus really believes that he's still alive. Kratos and Sindri are kind of shocked by this, but now they're kind of seeing the truth, a little bit of truth behind it. So that's where I'm at in the game right now, that we have just gone through that temple area and seen the vision. So I'm not sure where we're supposed to be going next in that game, but I thought that was a decent spot to save at last night when I was playing, and I'm going to be playing more of this game this week. And I'm already going to say this game is going to be on the top 10 list of the year. I don't know where it's going to go already, but this game has been really, really impressive so far, and I expect it to keep impressing me. It hasn't. I don't think there's been one wasted second in this game so far, and I think I'm maybe 2 hours in on it, and I've liked the story, I've liked the action, I've liked the, you get the Chains of Olympus in this game, so you have a whole new weapon besides the axe, so you can press right on the D-pad to bring your axe, which is the same from last game pretty much, which is amazingly fun. But then if you hit on the left now, you can pull out your Chains of Olympus. These act as like a grappling hook to get up in different areas, so it allows for some additional mobility, but you can also fight with them, and you can also put fire on them, so they're kind of your more fiery thing. You can light up your enemies with fire with the chains, and then your axe is used more for the ice. So you got your cold and your hot on your left and your right. So whichever one you want to fuck with, you're gonna get fucked up by Mr. Kratos. And then Atreus is shooting his arrows over there. So Really, really good surprise. Happy with my decision to buy that game. And I think I'm going to continue down that same mantra of if there's a new game in the series, I'm going to play it. So I'm thinking of Breath of the Wild. I've never completed that. I've played some of it, started it a few times. It'd be great if I could complete that before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. But if May rolls around, I think it's May 12th, 2023, for The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. If that just comes out and I haven't completed the first one and I haven't been making progress, I'm just going to play the new game. Then I'll be able to see the new content, see the new mechanics, see the new stuff going on in the video game world. And I don't think it'll have any negative for me, except I'll be missing out on a good game prior, maybe missing some prior knowledge. But I think when I play so many things that it's not really going to matter. So a new philosophy for the Dep Lewis Show. So we'll see how that goes. You can obviously see that the philosophy has changed just 8 episodes in, but this is my podcast, so I can do whatever I want. I'm just trying to enhance my video game experience out here is really the ultimate goal. And then provide some cool information and pass it on to you guys here through the podcast. So that is what I've been playing this week. I can see myself playing all of those games again this week. I mentioned earlier that I bought a copy of Sonic Frontiers. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I did buy a copy of that. I don't know if I'll be firing that up quite yet. I just kind of bought it because it was on a really good sale and it looked interesting. I would probably like to get a play session in with it before the end of the year, maybe a play session or two, just so I can see if it's immediately good, kind of like God of War is. I can tell that God of War is already worthy of a top 10 nomination for my list, especially when I had 9 pretty solid spots, and then I play God of War, and I'm like, okay, it's definitely getting a spot on the list. So now it's just the mention of, or the idea of where it's going to actually slot on that list. So we will see. But it's been a great week for video games. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back and talk about what I've been seeing out there in the video game world. I believe there's a few things to talk about there, and we'll be right back. So thank you for listening to this first section, and we'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back to the middle section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 8. This is the section where we talk about what I've been seeing out there in the video game world, and I've seen a few things this week. I'm usually keeping up with it. The big release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on 11/18 came out. That game has been marred with technical issues. That's been the whole talk of the town on the Pokemon towns, of whatever region that game is in this time. There's just issues with it. And I haven't really seen anyone say that the game is better than the issues. I've kind of seen everyone say that there is some good in this game, but the issues kind of make it not unplayable, but just unenjoyable. I watched Alana Pierce stream this. Some of these streams, I watched a guy from Nintendo Power, or not Nintendo Power. There's a Nintendo YouTube channel I follow, and he was playing it too. And they were just showing off the game, and watching them play, it doesn't actually look that bad. But then they'll point something out, and you're like, "That's insane that it's happening," or they'll just mention that the frame rate's always bad, or you'll see a character glitching on the screen. And none of it just looks too impressive that wise. Like, the gameplay doesn't look, it's not like, there's just nothing is doing extra good to make up for all the technical issues of it. So I've kind of decided for now that I'm not gonna attempt to play these games. I was sort of thinking that if I wanted to play some Pokemon and scratch a Pokemon itch, maybe I'd get back into Pokemon Arceus, which I played earlier in the year and did like. I didn't complete it, but I played a good bit of this game, and I think it'll be on my Game of the Year list. It'll be on the lower end, but I really did like that game, and it was running okay. It wasn't a technical masterpiece, but it doesn't have crazy frame rate issues or glitches or bugs like I've seen all through Scarlet and Violet. I've seen one, Sarah Pods was talking about, she said you can play this game, just don't ever look up. The one Nintendo channel I was watching play this game was mentioning that too. He was talking about how unrealistic the clouds are and the shadows are. I don't know if that's something that I would care about, but I bet I would notice if I was playing and just think it's weird. So it's probably just a combination of many, many things like that. And when you're playing this game, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what am I playing? So that is really disappointing. I think I saw that they had sold 10 million right out the gate or something like that, which is not surprising. I don't know if they'll make some type of patch to this game. I think that could be something that would get me into this, but it also doesn't look like, the trappings around the game are really worth any of that struggle. But I do like the thought of the open world and, being able to ride on your Pokemon everywhere. But then I was thinking back to Arceus, where you can do that in that game as well. So I don't know. I think that maybe that could be the smart advice if you're really trying to pick up a Pokemon game for the holidays this year, is maybe to pick up Arceus. They're both sort of new releases. They both came out this year. One's more of the mainline Pokemon, but the other one's kind of as more of a creative take on the Pokemon universe, and seeming like the overall better game. So I don't know if that's a common decision people are making this year for the holidays, but that would be the Dep Lewis Show advice I could give you out there. But I think if you're buying this game and you've done any research on it, you'll know about the technical issues with it. So I think that's a good service that the industry, that the games media people have been doing out there, has been pointing that out. But I mean, it is Pokemon. So Pokemon's great. It's just sad. You just wish they could get it. It's just a fumble that you wouldn't expect. It's like, come on, guys. But let's see. Did that sway me to buy it? No, it did not. I did feel a little more positive after Alana's stream. That's what I was saying. Like, some of the stuff looks okay, but none of it just looks that outstanding. Like, you're looking at it kind of being like, okay, it's okay, but you're not looking at it being like, I'm dying to play this. So I think they're missing something here. RCS was looking like it's been on sale recently, like maybe like around $45. So that's also another good factor if you're, you could save $15 there on a Christmas gift or whatever you're doing, or for yourself if you're buying yourself a game or something. But we'll see. Just wanted to kind of recap what was going on in the Pokemon world and the Pocket Monsters. You got to catch them all, but you also have to catch all the glitches and all the bugs too, and maybe some not exciting gameplay and older mechanics of things. But it's still got the Pokemon that we all love and adore, and they're cute as hell and cool, and that's what you're really there for the most part. But you just need to think about these things. You really wish that a company like Game Freak would be releasing a sturdier game with the technical side. So we'll see. I guess we get another mainline Pokemon game in 3 years. So that'll be, 2025? Fall 2025, we should expect our next release. There's no way that's going to be on the Switch now, I would say. I believe the new Switch handheld would be out, or whatever Nintendo was doing next would be out. But also, I do not know that for sure. And I love my Switch and have no gripes with it, really. I don't think the technical issues of this game can be put on the hardware. I think we need to put this on Game Freak, like I said previously. And I believe that's still the case, because there's lots of games on the Switch that look phenomenal, like Splatoon 3. It looks great every time I boot that game up, and that's on the same hardware. So just wanted to point that out there in the Pokemon world. Sorry, that's a little disappointing. Another thing that's a little disappointing, but I guess it's a little bit closer than, I don't know. A lot of people like to say that this the Game Awards hosted by Jeff Keighley, did not get it right last year with picking It Takes Two to win, which I agree with that. I don't think out of last year's nominees that It Takes Two was the best game of the year, especially if you're picking one. It just seemed like more of a niche thing, it being you have to play co-op in that game. And a lot of people says it went on longer than it should have, is what I've heard about it. I'm not a big co-op game player these days, so I was automatically, unable to really try that game out unless I just really wanted to convince a friend to play it with me. So that was kind of lame when that won last year. But the other nominations last year were Deathloop, which I respect that as a game. I played that a little bit. Metroid Dread, I respect that as a game. I played that, and same thing. Played that a little bit, liked it a lot. Psychonauts 2, same thing. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I played some of that this year when I got my PS5. So I'm just a year late on that, but I can see the merit in that game. And then Resident Evil Village. So those were the other noms from last year. And freaking It Takes Two takes the cake. So that's freaking crazy. So for this year now, they announced the nominees last week. Seems like a better job. I heard someone saying that they were trying to, you can kind of see the inner workings of their thoughts of picking these games, that they're really just trying to satisfy the big main publishers and, try to make it more even than just actually picking the best games of the year. So I kind of agree with that, but I can also see why they would want to be appeasing a large audience. But I don't know. I'm going to read you the nominees for the Game Awards for 2022. So these are not the Dep Lewis Show official nominees. These are just some other Game Awards out there in the universe that people seem to like. So they got a game called A Plague Tale Requiem on there. That's the only game on this list that I really don't know too much about. But that's the first nominee. And then the second one is Elden Ring, which that should be on anybody's list, because Elden Ring is what a lot of people term as a masterpiece, and I can agree with that. God of War Ragnarok is another nominee, and from my early 2 hours in this game, I can already see this game seems like it's holding itself to a very high standard, and I'm doing a lot of things, really, really well, so that I can see that game being on this list for sure. Next nominee is Horizon Forbidden West. So that's the second entry in that series that came out earlier in the year. PS5 game. A lot of people kind of said this game runs a little too long. I've heard some complaints about the visuals, about too many colors being in this game, but this is something I played just a little bit of, just trying it out to see how it looked. It seems like a big deal. Stray is another nominee. That's the PlayStation exclusive where you play a cat. It's kind of like an adventure game, I guess, or I don't know. You become a cat, you're in a city, and you're walking around, and you're living the life of a cat. So it's a pretty cool thing. It's a smaller game. I believe it's like around the $25 price range, but it's made the list. It's a nominee. And then the last nominee was a Nintendo game. That's why they were saying these things seem a little bit spread out, like they're trying to hit everything. But Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is on the list. That's something that I'd like to play. I have the Xenoblade franchise on my to-do list, and with my new take on skipping forward to the newest entry if I want to, that would have me playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at some point. So I could see myself buying this game. I just have to find these games are massive, and I'll just have to find the right time to do it. It would need to be during a time of a slump or a time where it goes on sale. But I follow the Xenoblade games kind of a little bit closely, and they're hardly ever on sale. You can sometimes get them, sometimes, and maybe this being the new one, I don't know. We could see Nintendo doing more sales as time goes forward and time moves on, but they don't generally discount their games too often. But those are the nominees for this year: A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I've only played Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West out of that list. I would put Elden Ring at the top of that right now, followed by God of War and then Horizon for me. But I've just started playing God of War, and I highly respect Elden Ring. But if I somehow complete God of War within the next month, that could bump itself over Elden Ring, because Elden Ring is not something I've completed. So we will see. But I don't know when they do those actual awards, but I just wanted to let you know what the nominees are looking like out there, because they are widely discussed around the video game world. And it's just a big deal. It's a cool award show. It brings attention to the video game world and to some of these publishers, and there's other categories and things like that too. So it's all really a good thing overall. And arguing over the nominations is half the fun. So you can shit on them, but overall it's something cool to talk about and something cool to watch if you'd like to. And they aren't hurting anybody with doing a game awards, and they aren't hurting anybody with picking games that you don't like. Just get over it. But it's a cool thing. It's fun to talk about. And we will see who the winners are. I'll definitely highlight whoever wins and talk about that a little bit whenever the awards happen, because I'll be checking for it. There's two more things. Oh yeah, I forgot to do my homework on one of these things, so we'll talk about it quick. But there was a new Fire Emblem Engage trailer this week as well. It looked like it was like 4 minutes long, so I guess it's more informative than just being a short trailer. But it was called Engaging with Emblem, so I guess it's going to show off a little bit of some mechanic in the game, or would be my guess. But I meant to watch this, and I still have it on my watch list, so I'm pointing it out to you that you can go watch it too. But that is my most anticipated game right now, is Fire Emblem Engage. It comes out January 20th, 2023. And I'm just looking so much forward to that. And if you want to play some Fire Emblem right now on the Switch, you can go download Fire Emblem 3 Houses. That game is, I believe that's on the top 10 for the Dep Lewis Show games of all time, so would highly recommend that game as well. It's another one that's not usually on a sale, but you could see it off by a few dollars right now during some of these sales, because these sales have been going on, have been pretty great. And then the last thing I want to talk about is more of a nostalgia thing, but this nostalgic thing just came to Switch, and it's called the Oregon Trail. This is a game that I first played in elementary school. Sometimes if you finished your work early, you could go play on the computer, and the Oregon Trail was one of the games available to you on there, and I definitely played a lot of this back in those days, and just have really fond memories of being able to not be doing schoolwork and you can play this video game. This game is $29.99, which I was a little bit surprised by this, but I guess at least it's not more than that. This game was first released December 3rd, 1971, so this game has been out for a few hot minutes. And if you don't know, I'll just read the little description of this game. It says, the Oregon Trail by Gameloft Experience the Oregon Trail like never before. A modern twist on the trials and tribulations of the road to Oregon. The official successor to the global phenomenon will immerse players in exhilarating journeys, ranging from the historically accurate to the totally extreme. So you're basically just trying to take your caravan across the Oregon Trail. You have all these mishaps along the way. You have to keep your people healthy. Your I don't even know what it's called. Your caravan can crash. All sorts of things can happen on the trail, and you might not make it to the end. So that's the whole point of this game. And I just wanted to point out that it's now on the Switch. It's pretty funny that game's still going strong, but I bet it's still probably pretty fun to play. I can't imagine it being something someone puts tons of hours into, but I bet there's some nostalgia there, and I bet there's some probably fun simulation things in there to interact with while you're playing, and if they made any of the updated any of the art or the graphics on it that make it look cool, then it might be fun to play. But I just thought it was funny, and I saw that pop up on YouTube as being something new. So go play the Oregon Trail if you'd like to. If you'd like to, practice what it's like living in a while ago and traveling across the country, where it takes 9 years instead of just a 2-hour plane ride or whatever. And that's what I've been seeing out there in the world this week. The releases have been slowing down a little bit. We still have, I guess, the biggest one of the year is Callisto Protocol coming out early December. That shouldn't be something I'm going to play because it's more of in the horror genre, and I'm a little bit of a wuss and scared of those games. But it is made by the developers who made Dead Space, so there is a lot of pedigree there where I could expect this game to be reviewing very well, but I really don't know. So if there's a chance that game is reviewing extremely well and I'm hearing great things about it, there's a chance I could play it. So I just wanted to keep you updated on that. I believe that comes out, I believe it's early in December, but that's the only other game I can think of right now that people are anticipating, but I will check in with that before the end of the year. I still need to continue playing some things. I have Neon White that I haven't played much of yet that I'd like to play some more of that before the end of the year. Maybe I need to boot up Sonic Frontiers to try that out, try to suss out the end of my list. But with the emergence of God of War Ragnarok, I believe I can have a fully, a strong 10-game list right now. So we are closing in on the game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022. This year is almost done. So I'm going to let you go and take another break for just a minute here. I'm not going to let you go for a long time because we got one more section of this show. And we're going to come back and talk about a few things. I have some book talks. I got some comedy special recaps. And I got some sports talk for you. So if you'd like to listen to that, please come back. And I'll see you then. Thank you. Welcome back to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, Episode 8. Thank you for being here again and sticking with me through the whole podcast. I really appreciate it. You're number one out there in your headset, number one with a bullet. And we are here to talk about a few things here to end the show. I've been making some progress on a book that came out recently. It's called The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. This is part of the Mistborn series. And it involves, your boy Wayne, and your boy Wax, and Marazi. You even have a Hoyd appearance showing up. He's driving a carriage just like a normal person. So if you know anything about this series, Hoyd's going to pop up. And he's going to be very mysterious. And it's always nice to see him. And it was nice to see him earlier in this book. Wayne's a little bit older in this. And he's making dad jokes and getting called out on him by Marazi. So that's pretty funny. Wax is over there being a senator. And he's trying to help out the most people possible is what he says. But he's being really frustrated by the senatorial process. Or by those proceedings. So it's been a really good start to the book. Wayne and Marazi are investigating this cave that they believe there's some mischievous souls down there. Some dudes causing trouble living down there. So they're investigating it, and immediately they don't immediately get caught, but immediately things don't go as they planned. So that's kind of where I'm at, as they're in a big scramble with all these people in this cave trying to survive and trying to take some fools out. So been really, really great. I really, really recommend the Mistborn series. You should start reading those if you'd like to, and you could even start with the Wax and Wayne part of it if you'd like to. But there's a whole catalog of great content and books to read from Brandon Sanderson. So shout out to Sando. I want to keep talking about him a little bit each week as I'm reading this book because there's some of my favorite things that get released there in the year. So go read The Lost Metal if you'd like to. Shout out to Wax and Wayne. Go buy a new hat. Buy a hat for a friend. Give a hat, share a hat, be a hat. That's what I gotta say about that book. So it's been really, really good. It's looking like it's trending towards a 5-star rating, so we will see. Another thing that I'd like to give 5 stars out of 5 stars would be Neil Brennan's comedy special Blocks. It was really, really good. It was another one over an hour, I believe it was, and I appreciate that, especially if I like the comedy that's happening. The backdrop of this was really cool, so shout out to the artist who did that. He said, he made a joke about there, he's like, I actually paid for this, but you can tell he paid for it because it's really cool. He has all these different symbols and things that represent like different things in his life or things about him or things and just in the zeitgeist out there that relate to him. And just thinking about backgrounds, I wanted to mention that, Ari Shafir's Special Jew, I listened to like an interview with him or a podcast later on, and he said there were 6,000 candles in the background and that it cost him around $230K for his entire special. So I don't know what the exact candle budget was, but I was wondering how much the candles cost him. So I don't know, but he has mentioned he had 6,000 of them. So that's another great special that you should go watch if you'd like to. But we were talking about Neil Brennan's Special Blocks, which is on Netflix. I highly recommend it. He has a funny bit in there about the about 100 NRA guys versus 2 military guys and who would win that battle and how it would go down. Really funny and just some good commentary there on the world. This special also has some sad moments in this, but it's very interesting, and his use of the backdrop was cool. It didn't take away from the background didn't take away from his performance. It just kind of accented it. And I heard Neil on a podcast after watching this, and he was saying that he doesn't feel like it's something like, he just feels it's accenting it's improving what he's already doing. He said if you don't have a killer set already, like if you can't run the set without the background and get laughs and get enjoyment, then adding the background to it's most likely not going to help it. But if you can have a solid set and then add these other elements into it, where he was he was talking about even in the future adding more like flashbacks. Like if he's talking about his dog in the special, he would bring up an image of his dog on the screen for 2 seconds, during the comedy special, where it would flash and you'd see a picture. And he's basically just saying, if you're able to, why not give them the most information you can? And, it's just enhancing the experience visually, and, you're listening to it too. So you're getting just a little bit extra while you're watching it, and it's really not detracting from the overall performance of what's being shown here. So another really cool special. Neil Brennan's been doing the podcast runs on everything. He was really funny on Flagrant 2. He was really funny on Are You Garbage? I'm still in the process of watching that. I'm trying to think where else I saw him, but he was on a few things this week, and I was really enjoying watching him on all those podcasts too. So go check out Neil Brennan this week. He's really hot in these streets out here, and he's got some good content out there. All right, so the final section of this show is the sports section, and we're going to talk about the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, which is the Carolina Panthers. They had a game against the Ravens last week. It was a very grindy game. Baker Mayfield was the starter, and I'm just sorry, Baker, but I'm just not a fan of the way you play the football games out here. This game was rough. I really wish P.J. Walker was out there. I think it would have made a big difference. We had the Ravens pretty close all game, closer than I thought we would have them. It's just something on the offense not clicking. Just whatever Baker's doing out there is just not clicking. It's not working. I don't know what component it is, but we've seen a lot of Baker Mayfield games this year already, and I just don't know if he's got it for us. I don't even know if I like him as our backup option, because you're not really getting too much of a spark even when he comes in, which is what we just saw. But he seems like he's doing the right things as a teammate for the most part, and seems like he's preparing. They always talk about his preparations. I was thinking, maybe he could be a coach. I'm not the football guru or expert, but I'm like, I don't think I want Baker starting for the Panthers. I don't think I want him as a backup. And I don't know if other teams would either, but it's not like he's useless as a person or whatever, or his football knowledge is useless, but maybe we'll see Baker coaching one day. Seems like he really is into football. He just hasn't been executing it well for himself. So we'll see. I'm glad, though, that this week... Well, I'm not glad, because this week, guess who the Panthers are starting? They're starting Sam Darnold. He's starting Sunday at home against Denver, which we should be able to beat Denver if we can beat anybody, because, they're trash. They have a couple good defender guys, I believe. They have a Surtain. Surtain is, I think they're an amazing young corner they have, but the Broncos, no one's shaking in the boots over the Broncos right now. So this should be somebody we can get a win against. And we're starting Sam Darnold. So I don't know if P.J. Walker's not available. I don't want us to start Baker, but it just seems crazy we're going to start Sam Darnold. I'm really ready to get off the quarterback carousel with the Carolina Panthers and just have them commit to someone, even if it is a young guy. I don't know if we're going to draft someone new, if we're going to have Matt Corral come back and try to work it out, or P.J. Walker can stay healthy. I feel like he would get a shot. He was actually having some success, but I don't know. But Sam Darnold starting this Sunday against Denver. I really hope we can give DJ Moore the rock. I really hope we can highlight him during the game, just make him the focal point of our offense, somehow get him more touches than we've been getting him. And then we also need to keep handing Foreman the rock. We need to establish that run game, help out the quarterback who's not lighting it up out there, and get the ball to DJ after that. So we'll see what Sam Darnold's got. Sam Darnold's got his beard growing, maybe looking a little tougher, maybe having a little more heart out there. We'll see if his talent and his heart and his preparation can all come together for a win for the Panthers, and I really hope so. So I'll be watching that on Sunday. And the Panthers they got to win. I think they have the slightest chance of making the playoffs. I don't know if by winning the division or the wild card, but I think they still are. I think it's still a possibility, but they need to win these games, and they definitely need to beat Denver. So if they don't beat Denver next week, we're going to be a sad sports fan in the sports section. So I will let you know. All right, and then the official NBA team of the Dep Lewis Show is the Atlanta Hawks. They won in OT against the Raptors last Saturday night. I just wanted to shout out that last play. It was just really great to see. It involved Murray, Young, and Griffin. So Murray and Young are our two main stars right now. And Griffin is our young star who we drafted last year out of Duke. Out of the 2022 draft, our 6'6" forward, AJ Griffin. He's been really looking great this year for the Atlanta Hawks. But that play was Murray to Young, who threw an alley-oop to Griffin, who laid it in right as the buzzer goes in to win the game in overtime, and it was wonderful. So shout out the Hawks for that win. And then I just looked up some stats last night as of Thanksgiving night, so that was November 24th. Thursday, November 24th. I just wanted to see what the Hawks were doing out there in terms of stats, so I wanted to bring that to you. Trae Young's leading the way in points with 27.6. Murray follows him with 20.2, followed by DeAndre Hunter at 15.7, followed by John Collins at 12.3, Clint Capella 11.1, Griffin at 8.6, and Okongwu at 7.9. I just wanted to point out that I really, really like every one of those players a whole lot. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 of our rotation players, our leading scorers, and I really like every one of them. I'd be sad to see any of them leave our team. I guess maybe minus Capella, since we got Okongwu in the wings waiting on. But I really like Capella too, and he's been doing great this year. He's actually leading the team in rebounds at 11.9, followed by John Collins, who, John's fourth in the pecking order on points, but he's second in rebounds at 7.2, followed by Murray with 6.2. So, you got Trae scoring the bull share of the points. Murray's a little bit less after him, but Murray's also stepping up that rebound game because Murray's got the great defense and he's got those long limbs, so he's up there scooping those rebounds. But we also got Clinton John on the board, so I think that's a really strong suit for the team. For assists, we got two big dogs with our assists, and that's Trae and Murray. Trae's got 9.4 a game, Murray's at 7.1, so those dudes are doing the majority of the distributing for the team and keeping the offense flowing. So our next one is Holiday after that at 1.5, so we have a giant fall off after those first two assist leaders. So I think maybe we need to see a third person stepping up in there just for injury's sake or regression's sake or just for security's sake. We need to get another guy possibly handling the ball, maybe like in a 6-man role kind of thing or something that's going to come out and distribute. So I don't know if that's going to be Bogdanovich maybe when he's back healthy, because I think he's hurt. But I don't know. That stat was a little bit not alarming, but it was just unusual. I felt like that it was that big of a fall off from those first two guys who I would expect to have a lot of assists and handle the ball a lot, but just interesting. So shout out to AJ Griffin for doing his thing, and the Hawks have been looking pretty good, so it's been fun to watch them. I didn't look up their upcoming games for this week, but I believe they play somebody Sunday night. Is the next game. I think it's the Heat. I think the Heat are coming up pretty soon, so keep checking out on the Hawks. I'll be watching some more of them. And especially when football season's ending, then the Hawks will kind of be the main showpiece for the Dep Lewis Show in regards to sports until the Atlanta Braves start back in March. So definitely missing the baseball, but these other sports are holding it down. And then we also have the World Cup going on right now, which is really cool. So today is Friday, November 25th, and the United States will take on England at 2 o'clock. I think 2 o'clock Eastern is when that showdown will happen. So the U.S. needs to get a win. I believe England is one of the big favorites of the whole Cup, and the U.S. just struggled to tie Wales. And then I don't know. I think Wales lost today or they won today. So there's been a lot of underdoggy stuff going on in this Cup so far. So it's been interesting. So I'd like the U.S. to get involved in the underdog stuff because a lot of people don't. We had some expectations this year for the U.S. team, but we're not highly respected across the globes yet in the soccer world. So I hope that the U.S. can showcase their skills today at 2 o'clock, and hopefully Pulisic will. Hopefully he will. He looked good last game, but he just needs to take it up another little bit of a notch, increase that power level, Pulisic, and let's get a dub out there. So I hope that'll happen. So sports world's been great. I'd like to thank you out there for listening to this podcast today. We're going to wrap it up with that. Had a great week of video games. Expect to have another great week coming up. I expect to play a lot of the same things that I've been playing this week, and reporting that back to you next week. So hopefully we get some more good God of War Ragnarok updates. Hopefully have some good Carolina Panthers games and Atlanta Hawks games. Well, Carolina Panthers game, Atlanta Hawks game before I talk to you next. And then I just want to be your boss again and tell you some more stuff to do to end the show, because it will be really helpful to me in getting the word out there on the Dep Lewis Show. So please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. And then email any questions or feedback you have to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Catch full episodes of the Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and even more on my Buzzsprout page. There's clips of the show on YouTube and TikTok, and I appreciate the hell out of you. I appreciate you a whole hell of a lot for listening to this show today. And this has been episode 8 of the Dep Lewis Show. We'll be back next week for episode 9. And I guarantee that's going to be a great show as well, too. So have a wonderful week out there. And we will see you next time. Peace.